Hello everyone, hope you're having a wonderful day and welcome to a brand new video. It's been a little while, hasn't it, since I last posted a video on this channel. I'm so sorry for everyone who was itching to see a new video on here, but I do have quite a few reasons for this. First off, my GoPro camera has recently decided to stop working, and I was planning on doing some onboard videos of my karting, but obviously not to be. So, but hopefully get sorted soon, and then I can show you some of the action from my days at karting. And secondly, it's also been a pretty busy period for me. I've struggled to find the time to not just edit videos and record lines, but also writing scripts, and that includes my my other channel as well. So, yeah, apologies for that. But hopefully, for this month, I can get churn out a few videos on this channel and my other channel as well. So you got things to look forward to that. This video, in case you couldn't already tell, it isn't scripted, so I might go off topic a little bit and lose my train of thought. So apologies in advance for that. So this is a little season review and analysis of the first ever W Series Championship. For those who don't know, this is a single seater championship with Formula 3 cars, but it's aimed at promoting female drivers, giving them a chance at proving themselves, showing off their talents, and seeing how they can cope with probably some of the toughest cars in the world, and hopefully give them a chance to move up the racing ladder. Of course, when it was announced, I think it was quite late last year that it was announced. It had a lot of mixed opinions. People calling it, unfair, saying how women drivers are being segregated and how they're not being tested against the very best, which is probably the best way to see what their talents are. But personally, when I heard about it, I thought this is a good idea. Yeah. When I was first becoming interested in motorsports, I initially thought that it was just going to be a man's sport. So and generally to outsiders, people don't know that there are female racing drivers in the world, because I recently had a chat with a friend who said how I would like to help my kids become racing drivers, and my friend replied, even if they're female. And that's when it occurred to me that even in 2019, in today, people don't know that there are women who want to become racing drivers, who want to be at the top of the motorsport world. And but now, W Series has a chance to promote these drivers. Give them some extra exposure to teams, and I really like it. And plus, I obviously want my kids to become racing drivers because it's too late for me. I only started karting at 15, which is, by today's standards, it's too late for me. So yeah, I'm gonna help my kids when they're born and when they're young, and we'll see what happens from there. Anyway, I often find myself cheering on female drivers when they're in a race as well. So naturally, it was good to see a championship which is full of female racing drivers, and yeah, I was really looking forward to it, and I think it did meet my expectations. So let's get into it. They raced in 6 rounds, 7 races technically, with 18 drivers per race, and 2 reserves. The calendar followed across the DTM calendar, so they went to the tracks the same weekend as them. They started off in Hockenheim in Germany, Zolder in Belgium, Misano in Italy, Nürburgring in Germany again. Then they had 2 races in Assen in the Netherlands, and finally yesterday the finale at Brands Hatch. And I really wanted to go to the finale yesterday, but me and my dad couldn't quite afford tickets, so never mind, maybe next year. The racing was really exciting, and there were quite a few memorable moments and overtakes, incidents as well, and it was pretty entertaining to watch. And Channel 4's coverage of it was really good, and it was very nice to see yesterday all the supporters that were there for the finale at Brands Hatch. And another great thing, a lot of them were young girls who had seen the championship and had probably found themselves a favourite driver out of the 20 that were racing. And yeah, so that is a really good sign that these young girls are watching the championship, and this will inspire them to hopefully want to become racing drivers as well. And of course, more female drivers the better, and more likely we'll get one at the very top of the racing ladder, but we'll see. So in the end, it was Jamie Chadwick who won the championship with 2 race wins, 3 other podium finishes, and only finishing off the podium in one race in which they got points. And it was really good to see that in the end, the most consistent driver won the championship, which I think would give off a very firm message to the fans that consistency is just as important. It's not just about luck or speed. You know, if you're consistent, you'll get good prizes. So I was pretty pleased with that. Bikes got second, just 10 points behind. She was a very, very close. Just needed a few extra good results for her, but I think I'd be patting myself on the back if I was in her shoes. Alice Powell took third, just from Marsh Garcia in the end by 10 points, by winning the last race at Brands Hatch, and finished on the podium in every race that she finished, which is pretty good. So I'd say she'd be a very good contender if she did return for 2020 season. Then Marsh Garcia fourth, as I said, who won a race in Norris Ring. And then Emma Kimmerleinen, who the biggest what if of the season. Of course, she had the big incident with Megan Gilks in Hockenheim, which ensured she missed the next two races. But when she came back for the Norris Ring, it was as if she'd never left, and she won the point scoring race in Assen, got second yesterday, and got fifth in the championship, just stealing it from Fabian Volven, who was the highest driver who failed to win a race. Bikes won in Zolder, as I forgot to mention. And then Miki Koyama, the highest driver yet to finish on the podium, with 30 points. And then Sarah Moore, Vicky Peria, Tasmin Pepper, my two favourites, Sabra Cook and Jess Hawkins, just inside the top 12. So, and those top 12 will be racing in the next season. Well, they're qualified for the next season, but I think they do get a choice for whether they can return or not. But I think for the lower ones, I can't imagine why they wouldn't want to come back, because. But the top drivers, they've won quite a big cash prize. Chadwick has won $500,000 for winning the championship. So we'll see what she does. I wouldn't mind if she came back, because of course they don't have the super license points for this season. So she'd probably come back just for them to help her get that seat in F1, which I think she can get, because a Williams development driver, she was clearly fast, and I think. At the start, if you told me before the season started that she'd have won the championship, I probably wouldn't have been surprised. But the good thing was, it was a lot closer than probably most people thought. Just missing out on the top 12 were Caitlin Wood by 1 point, which must be pretty disappointing for her. And then my third favourite driver, Gosha Rodest, got 10 points, so just missed out by 2 points. And then we have Esme Hawkey, Naomi Schiff, Vivian Casterly, Shay Holbrook, Sarah Bovey, and Megan Gilks. So all 7 races had a lot of memorable moments, and I think I've made a little list of which races from worst to best. Number 7 I think will be Misano. Number 6 Zolder. Number 5 first race at Assen. Number 4 Norway's Ring. Number 3 Hockenheim. Number 2 yesterday at Brands Hatch, and probably the best race of the year. I think we can all agree on this one: the reverse grid race, the non-points race at Assen, where Megan Gilks won, by the way, because she started on pole because she was 20th and lost in the championship, but she held everyone off in a pretty impressive performance ahead of Alice Powell, and my favourite driver got third. Yay, Sabra Cook. So, yeah, a good season, and a lot of people made a name for themselves, and I think they should be pretty satisfied with themselves, because they've given themselves a lot more exposure than probably they did before this. Now, to talk about all the things I like about the championship and the stuff I dislike. So we'll start off with all the strengths. The racing, of course, as I said, is good. The drivers are talented. They have outside of the car, they're really interesting to discuss, to chat to. They all have different goals, and I'm intrigued to learn more about them and see what they achieve after this. And of course, their dreams are all different, so their chances of achieving them are different as well. But I am intrigued to follow them all. Another thing, I like the rule about how you switch cars and chassis and engineers between races, because that made things a lot closer, I think. Another big strength is how they managed to get live coverage on Channel 4 with some pretty in-depth analysis of both before and after the race. It's quite impressive that they managed to get live coverage when they're struggling to get it for Formula One, but that's probably the current situation with F1 not wanting to air free to air television. But never mind. David Coulthard and Alan McNish, very good commentators. They both switched their role as co-commentator over the years. During the season. They've done a bit of it themselves over the years, so naturally it was a good fit for them. So I hope they come back for next year. Lee McKenzie, a good presenter for Channel 4. Of course she's familiar with the role. She's a good reporter, interviewer. So naturally I wasn't too surprised that she did a good job. And then Ted Kravitz, our pit lane reporter, and did a little YouTube segments where he interviewed drivers after the race and during the weekend, which was very intriguing. Ted's a lovely character, and I think I don't watch much of Sky Sports coverage, but I imagine he's quite similar in when he does that job. So yeah, that's very good to get a bit of Ted Kravitz. We could all do with a bit of Ted Kravitz in our lives. Very good. Let's see. I think the top drivers had enough coverage to talk about them. I often imagine when watching a race how a first timer would think of the race, and I'm glad that they give the drivers a chance to show off their personalities. And now I want to talk about the weaknesses, and it's a small nitpick. I nothing against the top drivers. I'm sure they've all got wonderful personalities, but I didn't see the point in. I wasn't a big fan of them always interviewing either the British drivers or the ones who are at the top in the championship, because I want to get a chance to get to know the ones that are lower down, because I often imagine myself in the shoes of a team manager who's running a team, who's looking for a fresh young talent to work for my team, and if it's a female, if it's a woman driver, that's great. But if you don't give everyone on the grid a chance to show off their personality, show their professionalism, they lose. The driver is less likely to get an offer from a top team, because if you talk about the British Touring Car Championship, for example, it's important. They pointed out how important it is to it's important to be a businessman as well as a racing driver. If you don't take the work and the politics seriously, you could be the fastest driver in the world, but you might not even get a seat if you don't take your business seriously. And if you want these managers to look at a driver, I think, even if they're not even that high up in the championship in this, you want to look at them and think, that's her, that's the woman I want in my team. And so well, of course, one of the reasons for this, I think, was my second weakness. The coverage should have been longer. You only had about an hour and 15 minutes for general races. But yesterday they had 2 hours of coverage, which I think was the perfect amount, and I hope they have that for all the races next year, because we've got a chance to speak to almost everyone, talk about everyone, and I was happy with that. And then my third weakness is, well, a weakness that is probably going to be solved next year, according to Catherine Bond-Muir. She said how they're going to include more races next year, and that's just what I need, because 6 races, it like across 4 months, it went through like a flash that season. I'm sorry to say, but yeah, just if we get more races next year, as Catherine said, I'm looking forward to that. Claire Cossington as the lead commentator was okay. Of course, she's generally a reporter or interviewer, so it's probably her first commentating job, but I'm not totally sure. But I think she did make a couple of mistakes throughout, but like she's new to this. I'm gonna be fair. So yeah, not the best lead commentator, but hopefully if she comes back, she'll improve, and then we'll see what happens. So I think that's all the strengths and weaknesses I can fit. Oh wait, no, there's one more, and it's not a weakness to do with the championship. It's a weakness that's to do with motorsport as a whole right now. It's the fact that something they often pointed out in the build up to this, pointed out how it's been 40 years since we last had a female driver officially racing in a Grand Prix, and I just don't like why people think that every single series, every single junior series in the world has to do is it's all about getting into Formula One. It isn't. There are so many top motorsports out there that these people could easily get into, and in fact, their chances of getting into a top level motorsport are higher than F1 right now, because only 20 drivers are allowed on an F1 grid right now, and only you're lucky to get at least three join this year. And even then, there's the trouble with the cost cap and the cost of teams. And you might and your team is probably, I just don't see things changing anytime soon. Like Mercedes, Ferrari, and Red Bull, they're going to be the same three for a while. I am fairly confident of that. So being in F1, it's the pinnacle of motorsport, yes, but that doesn't automatically make it the best motorsport in the world. Like that's just that sounds like a lot like a rant. So I apologize if I sound like I was losing my cool there. But I'm saying, like, if you look at the list of drivers right now, you see who their heroes were, what their biggest accomplishment was, and what their dreams were. And I don't think, like, some of them all said they want to race in Formula One. That's fair enough, but not all of them do. And that's what we need to focus on. You need to make it clear that you can race in W Series and race in NASCAR. Well, okay, maybe not so much NASCAR, but you get my point. W Series is not about F1. It's about the top level of motorsport, any top level. Le Mans, IndyCar, what else? DTM. So there are so many options up there, and I just wish they wouldn't pin all their focus on, if you race in W Series, you're going to race in Formula One in the future. What if I don't want to? Yeah, that's my rant over. But I'm glad that David and Lee, when they had that chat about yesterday, pointed out it's not about Formula One. It's about you can get into any top motorsport you want if you do well in this. Well, we hope we'll see. Of course, first season we'll see if if the top girl gets the promotion, gets up to the top, and see how they do when in a top level car. So anyway, on to next season, where we'll have of course where we've decided the top 12. Chadwick, Visa, Powell, Garcia, Kimmelainen, Volven, Koyama, Moore, Piria, Pepper, Cook, and Hawkins are all the drivers that are in the top 12, and they are able to race next year if they choose to, or they find a better offer somewhere else. I'd say out of the drivers who just missed out, I'd say the three who deserve a seat the most, who were the closest to the top 15, top 12 rather, were Caitlin Wood, Gosha Rodest, and Esme Hawkey, because those three were consistent throughout the year. They didn't get as many points finish. They didn't get the points finishes that were required, so they just missed out. But they progressed as the season went on, and I think they would deserve a seat for next year. Of course, they had the evaluations and the testing, which I followed pretty closely, and I was quite intrigued to see who would get through. My favourite, Natalie Decker, sadly didn't get into just missed out on being an official driver, but hope she comes back and see her on the grid, because one of my favourite female drivers right now. So yeah, I'd like to see her do well. And so yeah, I'm quite intrigued to see who will come back. I'm intrigued to see who gets through and who doesn't, and also I'm intrigued to see whose opinions has changed about the motorsports. We've got the so many people were throwing huge. We're just furious even with the idea of this championship, and they made legitimate points, I will admit, but I'm intrigued to see if this has changed anything about their opinion. So we'll see. And if I could pick one person who I think will win the championship in 2020 if they race, Emma Kimmelainen. I think we can all agree that had Kimmelainen been in the whole championship, she'd have probably been top 3, probably comfortably. I mean, top 5 in every race she finished. it's going to be interesting next year to see how she does if she comes back. I can't imagine why Powell, Garcia, those drivers. I can't imagine why they wouldn't want to come back. Uh, anyway, that's it. That's all I wanted to talk about. So, yep, that's it for today's video. That's my analysis of W Series. I quite enjoyed talking about it. Apologies if I went off track a bit with my little rants there, but I don't usually do that. I promise. So, yep, that's all for today. Have you been following the W Series this year? And if so, what did you think? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you to Channel 4 for providing such coverage, and the W Series for giving it so much exposure, and the drivers for providing so much fun. I've really enjoyed following this championship, and I can say at the end of the season, I am a W Series fan. So that's wonderful. So thanks for watching. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Subscribe if you haven't done so already. Hit the thumbs up button. Yep. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.